Okay, in this video, I'm going to be going over how to complete the mutated hand assignment. So hopefully by this point you've already downloaded all the picture files you needed from Schoology. So I'm just going to start with creating the canvas. So if you notice, I went to File and then New, and then I'm going to type in a name, Mutated Hand. Here are your specs for it. The width is 8.5. Make sure it says inches. Height is 11 inches. Resolution is 300. The color mode, it doesn't matter if you're in RGB or CMYK. You just don't want to be in any of the other ones, okay? And then you'll just hit OK. It'll start you off with your blank canvas, and then we're going to start by adding our first thing, which is the hand. So I went to File and then Place. And you're going to select one of the large hands. It doesn't matter which one you choose. You click it and then you open it, okay? Then I'm going to move it down to the bottom. I'm going to resize it. Don't make it take up the whole page. You want to save some room at the top because you're going to be adding different items in, okay? And then I'm just going to hit the check mark and then it should clear up, okay? Now I'm going to add in the first item. Okay, so the first item, and we want to first take the background away. So this time I'm not going to place it, I'm going to open it. So I'm going to go to File and then Open. And let's start with the things when you're dealing with the white background. When you have an item like this and it's a white background, you can use a quick tool, which is the magic eraser tool. So that's right here, kind of in the middle of your toolbar. If you see where the yellow circle is, it's the little eraser with the star. If you don't see it, click and hold you might be on eraser, so if you click and hold the eraser tool, you'll see the magic eraser tool under this. This only works if you have a solid color background that you're trying to get rid of. Since this is white, I can use it. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in by hitting Control plus, and then I'm simply going to single click in the background. Okay, now the white background is gone. I do notice that here, right in between the fingers though, I still have a little bit of white left. So I'm going to zoom in really far. Otherwise, if I didn't, I would have risked taking away some of the fingers too. That way I can click right in the white part and get rid of just that section. Let me make sure I didn't take off too much. That's okay. All right, and now I have this word left, and since it's different colors, I would be all day sitting here using the magic eraser. So for that, I'm going to switch over by clicking and holding my magic eraser tool and just select the eraser tool, and then I'm just going to wipe off that. Okay, so now here we have just the hand. Okay, now I'm going to move the hand over to my mutated hand canvas. So there's a couple different ways of doing it. The easiest way, right from here, you can click and grab the hand. If you put your mouse right over your mutated hand tab, it should show up, and then you bring it right into the canvas and let it go. Okay, so let me show you that again. So again, from here, click and hold your hand, drag it up to that mutated hand canvas, and then into the actual white part and let it go. Okay, now I'm going to resize it because, as you can see, it's super tiny. So I'm just going to drag it out a little bit to make it a little bit bigger. Remember, you always have to hit the check afterwards. And then what I'm also going to do is rotate it. Now, if you don't see the little controls here, like I have on the side, these little squares, then you need to click up at the top. One, make sure your move tool is selected, and then up at the top where it says show transform controls right here, you want to check that box. Okay, that's what turns on these controls so that you can resize and rotate. Now notice what happens when I put my mouse up in the corner. It turns into a little rotating arrow. Now if I click and drag down or up, I'll be able to rotate the hand. Okay, so I'm going to rotate it I think I'm going to put this one on the middle finger. So I'm going to rotate it until it somewhat fits there. Okay. Another common question that comes up is how do you flip it? So if I wanted like the thumb to be on this side, this finger to be on that side, the way you flip things in Photoshop, if you don't want to flip the whole thing, I just want to flip this, is to simply drag it through. So you grab one corner and you drag it all the way through to the other corner. Okay, now since I've rotated this, it's doing something funky, so I'm gonna fix it back and then show you how to do it. So if I wanted to rotate it through to the other side, that's how you do it. Okay, and then now I'm just gonna rotate it around, and then once you get it pretty much how you like it, you just hit the check at the top. Okay, I'm gonna click to see how this is looking. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. Now notice right now it just looks like a thumb is sitting on top. I mean, this hand is just sitting on top of this other hand. It's not really, it doesn't blend in at all. So I'm gonna use my tools to do that. So this is where the layer mask comes into play, and you're gonna be using this layer mask tool a lot when you do your movie poster, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm on my layer, my little baby hand layer, and I'm gonna go to up to the top where it says layer, and I'm gonna choose layer, layer mask, and then reveal all. Okay, now that I have that, notice it added this little white box over here to the right, and then you should have black and white colors at the bottom. If you don't, you want to go ahead and change those, so black is on top, white is on the bottom. If you have it the other way around, just hit the little reverse arrow right here and that'll flip them. Okay, now I'm going to grab my brush tool, which is kind of several tools down here on my toolbar. And the cool thing about this now, I'm just going to increase the size. You want the size like about where mine is. I'm at 130, 139. You want your hardness to be all the way on 0. And then now I can just start painting, but instead of painting, it's actually erasing. Okay, so if you notice, and I'm just going to do this kind of gently, I'm basically blending by using this layer mask tool. I'm blending the hand into the finger. Okay, now you don't have to make it perfect, but we want it to be somewhat neat so it starts to look somewhat realistic. Okay, and that's pretty much how it works. The cool thing about the layer mask though is if you take off too much, so say for instance I came up here by mistake and took that off, all you have to do is flip your colors around. White will bring it back. Okay, so that's kind of the trick of layer mask. So white will reveal, black will erase. Okay, so it's never really gone with the layer mask, it's just hidden. All right, so for the next thing I'm going to show you how to remove things with a background. So for that we're going to work with the flamingo. So again, I'm going to open it, file, open. I'm going to open up this flamingo, and we want to use, this time we're going to start, because we can't use our magic eraser. If I was to try to use my magic eraser with this is what would happen, because it's not a solid color. Okay, I would be all day trying to use my magic eraser on that. What I can use, however, though, is my quick selection tool and then erase it. So I'm going to grab my quick selection tool, which is right here. Make sure the plus is selected because that's what selects. The minus will deselect. And I'm going to basically click in the background area, okay? Because the background is what I want to delete. Now, you have to be careful with this because you have to look at where the dotted lines is. Like right now, it's selecting the beak, and I want to make sure I don't get rid of that. So I'm going to switch over to minus. This will deselect, and I'm going to remove the beak from the selection so that it doesn't get deleted. And then I'm just basically going around where the edges are to make sure I don't have parts of this flamingo selected. Okay, now I have it perfectly selected like I want. There's a couple different ways of now deleting the background. You can just hit delete on your keyboard. Just make sure for use that it says that it's not on content aware or pattern or something crazy like that. You can leave it on foreground color or whatever, it doesn't matter, but just make sure it's not on content aware, otherwise you'll end up with thousands of pictures of the little flamingo here, okay? And then you're gonna hit okay, and then now it just painted it black. Well, I don't want it on a black background because then it'll mess up with this, okay? So I wanna get rid of it altogether. So now I can use my magic eraser tool since it's solid color, and click in there, and now it's a transparent background, okay? So now I want to get rid of my selection so I can move it. So I'm going to hit select, deselect, and now I can grab my move tool, and just like I moved the other thing, go right back to the same step of moving my flamingo now on this, okay? Now I think I'm going to put the flamingo on the thumb. You can put it on whatever finger you want to. You don't have to follow me. I'm just going to resize it a little bit, and then of course rotate it, and I'm just going to resize it again. Okay, and then I'm going to hit the check. Okay, so now again I need to do my layer mask so that I can blend it properly. So I'm going to go to layer, layer mask, reveal all, and look, it switched my colors. So I want it on black on top. I'm going to hit the reverse arrow, grab my brush tool, and then I'm going to start blending, and I'm going to make the brush a little bit bigger. Okay, now my flamingo's done. Okay, now you're just going to continue adding things. You can start with the ring, add the ring next. You can bring in the ear. So if I wanted to next do the, here, let me work with this monkey. I like the monkey. Again, since this is certainly not a clear background, you want to use your quick selection. This time I'm going to select the monkey, so that way, and I only want his head. And so I'm going to deselect some of this other parts. Now with this monkey, since the edges are not even, you're not going to be able to be perfect with this, but that's where that layer mask is going to really come into play. All right, so then I'm going to, for this one, the easiest way to do it now that I have them selected, I'm going to hold down Control-C to copy, and then come over to my mutated hand and do Control-V to paste. Okay, now I have my monkey hand. Let's see, let's put him on this ring finger. And I'm going to do my, again, layer, layer mask, reveal all. I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to make it so it doesn't look so rough around the edges, okay? So grab your brush, and I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. And then I'm basically just going to kind of go around the edges. So that way it doesn't look too rough when it comes to this. Just kind of softening the edges. Just to make it neat. And now zoom out, and there's my monkey finger, okay?